Aging Committee for the City of Los Angeles on the 6th day of May 2009. Madam Clerk, thank you for all your assistance. Could you tell us how many items we have?
There are 10 items before the committee today.
All righty. Let's try with item number 1.
Item number 1 is a communication from the mayor relative to the appointment of Dr. Takashi Wada to the Commission for Children, Youth, and Their Families.
And do we know if the doctor's coming in?
Yes, he is.
All right, doctor. You coming on the goal line?
No, I drove.
All right. Now, let me ask the clerk, the city attorney, the legislative analyst. Name the 3 cities in the state of California that run their own health department.
City of Pasadena is 1.
Very good.
She took my answer.
All right, here, I'll give you a clue. Where's the Los Angeles River end?
Oh. I've only been in LA 4 years.
That's okay, but where does the river end?
I don't know.
Long Beach. So there's 2. Okay. All right, that's the tougher one then. Where's one of the most favorite cities other than ours in America, in California?
San Francisco.
Very good, very good. All right, good. Somebody quoted that out there. I heard that there.
No, I'm from
All right, so that's the health department. Doctor, you're here. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
Actually, the third is Berkeley, not San
Berkeley?
Francisco.
Okay, well, City County. City County. All right, so you got me on that one. All right, good. So there's only 4 cities, basically, and 1 being a city county. All right, Doctor. Well, the mayor has selected a wonderful person who's going to be contributing here on that. Have you been briefed on the realignment of the children, youth, and family and the consolidation of the departments?
Yes, I have. I've spoken to the mayor's office about that.
Great. And you live in the Highland Park District?
I live in Glassell Park in District
Glassell
14.
Park. All right, good. And tell us a little about yourself and your passion.
Sure. First, it's a great honor to be considered for this commission for the children, youth, and families. Reviewed the purpose, mission, and priority areas and pledged my commitment if I am ultimately confirmed. I'm a physician. I am currently serve as the director for the Pasadena Public Health Department. We run a number of health-related programs and clinics. Prior to that, I taught at UCLA and practiced as a clinical physician, where I saw a number of children and youth as part of my practice in a community clinic. In Pasadena, I'm one of the assigned staff to the City of Pasadena City Council Committee on Children and Youth Issues, where we're looking at a number of youth development projects related to the city.
Well, you know, Pasadena, and there's many good cities in the 87 other cities in the county, but of the other cities, Pasadena is one of the best, and it's also one of it's a large city, but not an overwhelmingly large city. It's, and it has a focus, which is real good, and you could duplicate that here if you look at our city and regions. I'm going to recommend your approval to commission, and I want to thank you for coming forth. And when will this be in council?
Tuesday, May 19th.
May 19th. Does that work for your schedule?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, doctor. So ordered.
Thank you.
Can I see you over here for a second? Just want to see afterwards. Next item.
Item number 2 is a report from the LA for Kids Steering Committee, a resolution and an ordinance of intention relative to the proposed 2009-10 Proposition K assessment.
Good afternoon, Bernice Hollins, Office of the CAO. The Proposition K assessment report provides funding recommendations for the next 5-year cycle, proposed adjustments to the current year budget, and satisfies various administrative requirements of the program. To avoid loss of program revenues, the city must adopt next year's expenditure plan by June 30th. The recommended 5-year plan of program expenditures is presented in Attachment 1. It covers fiscal years 2009-10 through 2013-14. Only next year's expenditure plan is balanced to the $25 million annual spending limit, since funding earmarks for the last 4 years of the cycle will be adjusted during future funding deliberations. The proposed expenditure plan for 2009-10 includes $14.9 million for capital projects, $3 million to fund debt service on previously bonded projects, $748,000 to fund administrative expenses incurred by the county assessor, public works accounting, and BOE. There are also 2 funding set-asides, $2.6 million for maintenance and $3.6 million for inflation, that will be awarded next year to individual projects. There are 3 categories of current year funding recommendations: reprogramming of project allocations presented in Attachment 12 due to such considerations as changes in project status, funding environment, and site conditions. Secondly, award of $3.39 million in maintenance funds to 107 projects reflected in Attachment 8. That includes $1 million in unspent prior year funds and a total of $2.6 million recommended for city-operated facilities. Lastly, award a $2.6 million remaining balance of current year inflation funds will be provided through an amending motion released prior to the public hearing recommended this year for June 3rd. Following the completion of the A-list projects recommended for funding next year, RAP estimates that the department's annual maintenance costs will increase by $2.9 million and annual operations by $1.7 million. Although Proposition K funds may be used to offset maintenance costs for completed projects, city sources would be needed to offset any increases in operations.
When you mention that city sources, that means general fund?
Most likely the general fund.
And are we, does this need to go to Budget and Finance Committee, or can we send this straight to council?
This is currently recommended to go directly to City Council. There would be a public hearing on June 2nd.
Great. And what type of challenge will be against the general fund? Because the general fund is challenged at this time.
The Recreation and Parks Department has indicated that next year they'll be going over to a zero-based budget. So this will be part of their priorities that they need to make as to which projects should be prioritized over others. And the department is highly involved with our process for scheduling projects.
Do you believe that each staff gets a copy of this report?
Pardon?
Does each staff get a copy of this report? This is a very good report.
They should.
And do you know if they read it all?
I can attest to that.
Don't they have a little check?
However, we do offer briefings to all the council offices.
And do they all take them? I just want to avoid anything in the future, because sometimes our loads become heavy or routine. This is real important, and it's a lot of work that you do, and it's impacting with all our challenges. Do we need to circulate a reminder to everybody if we circulate this to the council offices, or do they get this? Do they get this same report?
Yes, it's part of the materials before council when they act on it.
When it comes to council, so if we send it sooner or later, if Ms. Schechter from my staff wanted to just give a shout out, because of the intensity of this material, I just wanted to focus on them as they come.
Certainly, the entire report is online in the city clerk's seat.
We'll just put a reminder out, Lisa, just to find out who our liaisons are. Thank you so much for that report.
Thank you.
And we're now joined by the great councilwoman of the 9th District, the one, the only, Jan Perry. Good afternoon, Ms. Perry. We're on item 1. We just completed with the appointment of our new member of the Children, Youth, and Family Commission. He is in charge of public health for Pasadena. I would like you to meet Dr. Takashi. Is that said correctly? Takashi Wade. Excuse me. Wada. I was thinking of Billy Wade, who played for the Chicago Bears. I apologize, Stop now, says Jan Perry. I will. And this is item 2. You familiar with item 2? You're okay with item 2? Yes. We'll go forward with item 2.
Thank you.
Thank you. And item number 3 is another report from the LA for Kids Steering Committee relative to recommendations regarding the release of the 7th cycle Prop K RFP and a revised repayment schedule.
Got it.
The LA for Kids Steering Committee recommends in favor of release of the 7th cycle competitive RFP. Funding availability for this cycle totals $13.14 million and includes $1 million in Parks First funds that are restricted to a very small area in CD 13 and 4. And it also includes $12.16 million in Proposition K funds program for fiscal years 2010-11 and 2011-12. As a condition of receiving project funds for acquisition and development of park and recreational facilities, applicants must agree to a defined term of service and maintenance provision. The 7th cycle RFP includes a revised service and maintenance repayment schedule that is recommended for council approval, which is substantially consistent with the terms adopted for the CDBG program. Through 6 prior RFP rounds conducted every 2 years, a total of 187 projects citywide have received over $100 million in competitive funding.
So we're ready to move this forward to council. Again, this report has been circulated to council.
Yes.
And the deputy. Is there a working committee of council deputies who look at this? No organizing, but you do have contacts and liaison and everything?
Yes.
Good. Ms. Perry? So ordered.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Item number 4 is the report from the City Administrative Officer relative to an agreement between the Department of Recreation and Parks and the Friends of the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium.
Great. And I have no cards on this. Any friends here for the Cabrillo Museum?
Mark Mariscal, Recreation and Parks, Region Superintendent. No, they were not able to be here, but Mike Schott, the Director of the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium, and I are here to answer questions.
Good. Who is the number one friend of the Cabrillo Museum?
That would be, the city of Los Angeles, but Paula Moore is the executive director of the Friends of the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium.
And
Janice Hahn.
very much. And Janice Hahn wanted to let you know she supports the Friends greatly.
Very good.
Greatly. And wants to do all we can. What are we doing here, Mark?
This is a continuation of our agreement with the Friends Group that have been helping us for more than 20-plus years. This is going to be a renewal. This is a 10-year agreement. The Friends Group every year contributes more than $1 million towards direct operating cost and different programs. And so we're asking that you would continue to support that and move it on to council.
Thank you. Veronica?
Good afternoon, Veronica Salumidas with the CAO. The CAO recommends approval of the proposed memorandum of agreement.
Great. Ms. Perry? Nope. Okay, Ms. Perry orders, I second. Move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
When's the last time you were at the top of City Hall?
It's been a while.
Go up. You got out of here earlier. It's before 2:30. Go look at you, and you can see the Vincent Thomas Bridge. And Ms. Hahn sends her best regards. She'll talk when she comes to council. This will be talked about her as well. Next item.
Item number 5 is a report from the Department of Recreation and Parks relative to funds for the summer lunch program from the Great American Dine Out Grant.
Good afternoon, Alexa Esparza from the Department of Recreation and Parks. This grant will give us sorely needed funds to help promote the summer lunch program for the department, and it will provide for printing materials and publicity, and to hopefully increase the participation so that we can maximize our subsidy from the state.
Very good. And we're prepared this year for this?
Yes, we are.
How much is the dollar amount?
Of this marketing grant?
Right.
Sorry. I changed it from last year. The application is for $10,000, and we previously received $2,000 from them in the past.
So we hope we get more.
Hopefully.
This $10,000 is what we wanted, but we only got $2,000. $2,000 is not going to go that far.
They've expanded funding from previous years, so there's more available. The funding comes from restaurants across the country that participate in fundraise and give money to the Great American.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Perry? So ordered. Thank you. And Mr. Mariscal, before you leave the building, see me. Thank you very much. This item's been approved. Next item.
Item number 6 is a report from the Department of Recreation and Parks relative to the summer swim program and the LA 84 Foundation grant.
Great.
Good afternoon, Mary Bingham, Citywide Aquatics, Principal Rec Supervisor. We are here to accept for the funds for LA 84 Foundation grant in the amount of $85,000 for summer swim program.
How much do we spend on swimming in the summertime? What will this grant do? Will it?
It will provide over 1,500 youth to participate in the team sports. That's novice swimming, diving, water polo, inner tube water polo.
So the enhanced training, coaching, participation in
Yes.
this. And how many pools do we have in the city of Los Angeles?
We have 61.
And how many are going to be open this summer?
Approximately seasonal pools, 33, and then 16 year-rounds.
So 33 and 16 is 48. That still
48.
leaves us, how many pools are under construction?
One will go under construction. Westchester will be refurbed, and some of them are closed, Downey, Gaffey, and those have been closed for a few years now. Gaffey has been closed for many years, so Fremont is being repaired, and so we should have that open after the summer.
Okay, is Fremont at Fremont High School?
Fremont High School, yes.
Very good. Ms. Perry?
Open after the summer. How
Yes.
After some-
It's supposed to be ready for the September school year.
That's the only one over in South LA that's closed.
Yes, at this point, other than Gaffey.
What we're going to do, Ms. Perry, I think we're going to ask the clerk to schedule the Recreation and Parks Department on a pool report next meeting,
Yeah, that's what I
but we'll move this forward with dispatch. Thank you so much, Ms. Bingham.
You're quite welcome.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
This matter's been approved.
This next grant is... Oh, sorry.
For the record, item number 7 is another report from Recreation and Parks relative to funds from the California Department of Education for the Jim Gilliam Child Care Center.
Hey, Sergeant, make sure that employee from Rec and Parks doesn't leave yet. Okay, thank you very much. I'm trying to sneak out. Yes, hi.
Good afternoon, Carolyn James, LA City Rec and Parks, Child Care Program Manager. We have received a grant in the amount of $2,433 from California Department of Education to help purchase supplies and books and materials for Jim Gilliam Child Care Program and the 6 other subsidized child care programs that receive funding.
Will you divide that grant by 6 or 7?
Yes, it is divided. So
Got it.
each center gets about $347 each.
$347 each.
Yes.
Is that enough to buy anything?
It's enough to buy books, materials, markers, paper, things they can use during the course of the child care program throughout the year.
Thank you. Ms. Perry, any questions? We're okay. All right, we're going to move this forward. Thank you so much. Next item.
And item number 8 is a report from Recreation and Parks relative to the Summer Splash Program 2009 and funds from the Kaiser Permanente Community Benefit Grant.
And, from the time that this board report went forward, Kaiser got back with us, and we're actually receiving approximately $250,000 from them.
Down from 357?
Yeah. We started out with Kaiser in a partnership to provide swimming programs, and as a result, they've been able to extend that kind of funding to other cities as well. So we've got funds to give Learn to Swim, which is our swim lessons for youth ages 7 to 17, our junior lifeguard program, and also the extended summer swim season at the end of the summer when we don't have budgeted funds to continue.
Okay, we're going to find out about that too, because the one thing that always disappoints me, not your fault, but just all of a sudden, you get a heat wave in September, back in school, some of your employees have to go back to college, some colleges sometimes out of the area.
Right.
And the city attorney's office says you got to drain the pool if no one's in there every day.
Right, there's a liability. If it has water in it, we have to do pool watch, which is budgeted funds, and we do
How
have
do you
to
have to
drain
do
it.
that? Every day?
We have to have pool watch every day.
Somebody there?
Somebody there, yes.
Let me ask you a quick question about that, because I have South Park over at 51st and Avalon, who are
Yes.
actually asking about it right now. And the pool is drained right now, and I know it's going to come online in about a month, but in the meantime, it's covered with gang graffiti on the inside. What obligation is the city under in terms of timing? How quickly do we have to remove that? And if the city can't move quickly enough, can we have our own graffiti removal teams go in there, they have city contracts, and remove it faster?
The pool tanks are painted with a different type of paint. The graffiti removal paint doesn't work in the tanks. But we do have a schedule for painting that one.
Well, can the city work with our graffiti removal teams who have contracts with the city to get the proper paint so that we don't have to wait a month for the graffiti to be removed?
We can talk about that.
Okay, because it's also very detrimental, especially in a park like that where we're constantly pushing back on gang activity, to stay out of that park, to let the graffiti stand for even, a day.
A day, right.
And then it'll stand there for 4 weeks, which, is very encouraging to people who put it there in the first place, because they actually had to jump the fence to get in there. And it shows to everybody who comes to the park that, yeah, you can jump the fence here. And that's actually a park where I have cameras.
Okay.
So that means that they jumped the fence on camera and they still got away with it.
Right.
So I need a faster solution. And we do have a graffiti removal team, so
Okay.
I'd like to get some...
I can follow up with our water maintenance crew and have them to go out there and assess it and see what they can do and call your office and work with you
I want
in
you
that
to
way.
email me, because that's faster.
Sure thing.
Yes.
And directly to the councilwoman.
Yeah, to me,
She-
jan.perry@lacity.org.
Sure will.
And also do the same thing for the Hollywood Recreation Center. It's
Yes.
sad to see, and I know we have security that does make rounds, but in the rounds that they make, I'm sure they come in and vandalize it. Hollywood Rec Center.
Sure will.
We're going to accept this grant, and it's reduced because of the challenges that the donor has, or why was it reduced?
Well, I think they have really started to spread this program out throughout the county.
Right.
And so we were just given the $250.
That's
So
okay, that's a
I
very
think
great
it's a
gift.
great
You
number.
thank them, you give them a
Yes.
nice plaque from Mr. Muckery and
We will be doing
Sanders?
that.
Okay,
We'll have a kickoff event as well.
super, we're going to have it this year.
Jackie Tatum, Harvard Park.
That is this year,
CDA.
okay, good. Very good. Thank you so much. Next item.
Item number 9 is a report from the Department of Cultural Affairs relative to accepting additional grant funds for the Guadalajara International Book Fair.
Good afternoon. We previously came before you to accept a $1.6 million grant from the National Endowment for the Arts for the Guadalajara Book Fair. The National Endowment for the Arts is now appropriating an additional $510,000 to this project, so we are here before you to accept the additional funds.
What has been spent in the original funds?
The original funds?
Right, it hasn't all been spent yet, right?
No, the original funds, the largest portion of the original funds would go toward the artists, visual artists, performing artists, and writers that we're going to take down to Guadalajara. There's some administrative costs that are outlined in the report that we provided to you. Some of this money is supplementing some of the administrative costs, pavilion design, translation, interpreting services, some travel, but now we're incorporating another element in that. We're augmenting our film component because the book fair recognizes the nexus between the literary component in LA and the contribution of the film industry. We're also bringing nonprofit Los Angeles publishers now to the book fair in the hopes that we could generate businesses for LA-based nonprofit publishers. And there is a component for an inaugural ceremony of which all of our council members will be receiving an invitation.
Will you have any program here in Los Angeles?
We won't have any...
Kick off or anything like that sends off the artist? Like
we haven't-
maybe think about something.
We hadn't planned on that. I know that there's going to be a big press release in Washington DC to announce the cultural program, and we could certainly investigate the possibility of doing the same thing
Well, I
here in
would
Los
think you would
Angeles.
check with your sister agency at El Pueblo. Maybe you could do something at the birthplace of Los Angeles. Mexico City has a sister city with Los Angeles. Anything we do to help promote Mexico, especially in the time now with there is the challenge of the illness that has affected a number of people. I don't know, we're being very cautious on that, but I think it's devastated their economy. So anything we do in a positive way, I'd like to see us do that. Please be in touch with me on that as well. Ms. Perry?
Nope, it's fine.
Forward this, Erica. Moved by Ms. Perry, seconded by me. Thank you.
you.
You'll be in touch?
Yes.
Thank you. Like in the next 72 hours.
Thank you. That's very nice.
Next item here.
Thank you, I love you.
Item number 10 is a report from the Chief Legislative Analyst in response to a motion from Weiss relative to expanding the public access defibrillator program in city facilities such as recreation and in community centers.
Hello. Mr. Weezar's office?
Hi, Eric Sancorjo with Councilmember Weezar. The councilman has been trying for the last few years to fully fund the AEDs at all these facilities, particularly rec and park centers. Our understanding is most of the senior centers have them now. There was a grant that just came down for pools, so that just leaves these centers, approximately 191 of them, that still need them. These are obviously something that helps in emergencies when it's life-threatening. We met with your staff a few months ago, Councilman, and tried to come up with a strategy. The staff can give some updates on where they're at, and since it didn't make it into the mayor's budget, we're hoping that we can find a way to fund this this fiscal year.
What's the funding cost? Anybody know?
I have that, sir.
Thank you.
I'm Valerie Munoz with the Fire Department. I'm the program manager for the PAD program. Okay. Funding is $238,930.
And we have any funding now?
No, sir.
Okay.
John Jering with the CLA. CLA did a report in 2007 based on the Councilmember Weezar's motion to look toward rec centers as the next place to expand the public access program for defibrillators. We recommended a multi-phase implementation to ITGS committee, subject to the availability of funding. Fire department was to include that in its budget request for the next budget period, which is for this current year. It wasn't included. It also wasn't included in the mayor's proposed budget for next fiscal year. So there was work done with Rec and Parks to identify the total number of sites needed. We're still finalizing some of the training costs and consolidating all that cost data.
Right, but there's no question when they require a fire extinguisher in a building, we pay for it. But when this is a medical aid, we don't pay for it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Right.
Well,
And Chief, give us your experience.
Alan Norman, Battalion Chief, Los Angeles Fire Department. The public access defibrillator program has been in existence since the year 2000, and the goal of this program, of course, is to place AEDs throughout any city facility that would be accessed by the public and also the working force. The single most important aspect of cardiac arrest with the initial onset of cardiac arrest, of course, is defibrillation. And what we do is we attempt to, within the public access defibrillator program, target those locations where we would have an expectation of the highest likelihood of individuals having cardiac arrests.
How many in the last year were they activated in the city? Do you know?
So far since January, sir, we've had 5 incidents.
That's good. Making a difference in those lives. Let me ask
Right.
Mr. Sanjuro, if you put on a different hat, if you will, neighborhood councils, do you think they'd be interested in funding these?
It depends how much money they have, of course, the councilman, but if they had their 50 or 45, I suppose that those are things they could do. I think
What would
we're
be a
interested in looking
decent
at grants.
What's a cost? What's a unit cost?
We get, because we are one of the largest PAD programs in the entire country, we have a very good contract with our manufacturer, which is Philips, and we're able to get a huge discount. The units cost $896 and some odd cents. That does not include the cabinet that they're stored in. The other aspect to this, sir, that we all have to bear in mind is that once we install them, we have to maintain them. So every 4 years, they need a new battery, and every 2 years, they need another pad. And there's
Who
cost to
maintains them
that.
now, like at the
I do.
convention center? You do?
Yes, sir.
You go point to point?
Yes, sir.
Where's the closest defibrillator from us right now?
Right here in this building, sir, there's one on every floor. You have
Very
one on
good.
this floor.
Very good. We're going to move this ahead. I would ask if you could, Ms. Perry, suggest that we also ask our neighborhood councils to be familiar with this program?
Why don't we do a motion?
Do a motion?
Ask them to do it.
Ask them, and have a motion ready for council. We'll attach that. This is a value. I think there should be a menu of things that we know in these tough budget times, but there could be something that they would say, every public library have one of these?
Yes, sir, they do. All city public libraries.
And this is to reach out to what buildings right now?
This would be all of the rec centers in the city of Los Angeles.
Right.
So every district will be covered.
And people, I wonder, Chief, if more people have experienced challenges reading with their physical fitness or running at a rec center, probably running at a rec center. You know, reading's a little more passive, so they're sitting there. If they run around a park, maybe they run too much and they would be needed there. So it makes sense to look at this. We'll add for the additional motion and we'll move this forward. Does that sound good, Chief?
Thank you, sir. It sounds very good.
Okay, does that good, Mr. Sanjurjo?
We could put the caveat to say if the neighbor councils don't have the money, because Budget and Finance, as you may have heard, voted last night to cut their funding to $10,000 a year. We could also maybe suggest that staff look at grants, because there was just 86 that were...
Add grants to it, G-R-A-N-T-S.
And if we could continue to work with
Yeah.
our staff, that we work with Ms. Kim, that would be
Good.
ideal.
Very good.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Sir, really.
Thank you. Good afternoon on that one. Next item.
Thank you.
That completes all the items.
Is there any public comment? Mr. Fisher, do you want to make anything public in front of your boss? All right, you're very good. Thank you, everybody. Have a good afternoon.